Roger, operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West. Here to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. As usual, give you the top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it first, followed by a movie clip, a skit, a trailer, or something that's going on in the community, or maybe some pictures. And then I'll give you the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it, folks. So let's waste some time. Oh, yeah. Let's get to it. Story number 1. Butler Arts Museum is in top headlines. Sheen Barron has a report published January 6 on how the Butler Art Museum is highlighting the winners of the area's 85th what they call the Area Artist Competition. Now, the Butler Art Museum continues to serve the local area by providing showcases for area artists to exhibit their skills. That's why story number 1 made it this week. Story number 2. Medal of Honor recipient is from Girard. A Medal of Honor recipient, Marley Reichard, has a report published January 4th explaining how a Girard Army veteran, Ken David, has been awarded the nation's highest award for valor. This is 50 years after David saved the life of his comrades in Vietnam. Now, the story explains Ken's amazing journey to get to present day now. That's why story number 2 made it this week. Story number 3. The downtown plans that still have some people concerned. There is still a lot of chatter about the downtown plans for Youngstown. That may come up in the next election. Now, one headline published January 4th by David Skolnick explains what is taking place at 20 Federal Place, which is a vacant 9-story downtown building owned by Youngstown. The study mentioned in the report talks about a feasibility study taking place for development. Now, Blue Lofts, which is a Dallas firm, is proposing a $57 million project at the building. The plan is to have 100 apartments to house 180 people. Now, overall, this may be a plan to get people downtown, but there's always a but. The article is filled with information about Blue Lofts and the most current history of what has been taking place at 20 Federal Place. So the article is telling you about Blue Lofts and is filled with the current history about 20 Federal Place, when the tenants were there and how they got evicted and all that other stuff. Now, this story is still developing as pending issues continue to haunt progress in the downtown market, and that is the but. They want to make this happen, but pending issues continue to haunt downtown progress. So story number 3 made it this week. Story number 4. In line to take Brown's job. There's a lot of people ready to do it, a few candidates. Now, the line to run against Mayor Jamel Tito Brown just got longer. This is after Councilwoman Samantha Turner, District 3rd Ward, Democrat 3rd Ward, has now stepped in line to challenge Tito. Now, Samantha plans to grow the business district, change neighborhoods, and make the community sustainable, as stated in the report. In a report published January 8th by David Skolnick. Now, the article goes on to point out her plan to focus on economic development, crime reduction, neighborhood improvement, and relationship building. Now, at the moment, Mayor Jamel Tito Brown is seeking a third 4-year term. Now, Turner is chairwoman of Council's Public Health, Zoning, and Infrastructure and General Improvements Committees. Now, the article is filled with critical information on what led Turner to this point in her political career, folks. This story is still developing. That's why story number 4 made it this week. Story number 5. Firing shots at a gas station. A report out of Youngstown shows a surveillance video of a man firing a gun at a car that was parked at a gas pump at the Quick Check gas station on 1907 South Avenue. Now, what got the story in is the fact that the report goes on to explain gunfire in another direction, another location. Not this, but there was some shells there, and another report was made headlines. Now, the gun stories, the gun stories is what appears to be keeping these stories alive because there's so many that's in circulation, and the fact that it appears that there seems to be no solution to this problem at this time, and that's why these stories keep trending. That's why story number 5 made it this week. Big B. Story number 6. In times of hardship, even a little money is a good thing. Getting closer to the East Palestine train derailment anniversary, settlement money is still being finalized. Now, the $600 million money that was supposed to be divided is still being divided up, but according to the report out of WFMJ, as of the airing of this show, residents are still waiting for their checks. So this is it's been a while. Now, this report was published January 7th, thus getting into the top 8 because people need money right now, and what would it be like to finally get something to pay the bills and to compensate you for the problems that you did have, the work you lost, and on top of that, the injuries and medical debts. That's why story number 6 also made to the top 2 this week. Big. Story number 7 and the top 2 local headlines and developing news stories that made it this week for you. To keep you informed, folks, if you do not get up this early, I do upload the show on the website on Monday. So if you want to check out the show on the website on Mondays, you are more than welcome to. If you do not decide, if you get up this early, you just roll over, but you do want to support the show, I do upload it to the website on our YouTube page. Story number 7, $10 million. A $10 million sewer project. David Skolnick has a report published January 3rd explaining how City Council signed off on a $685,000 and what was $685,187 contract with MS Consultants, Inc. for the second phase of a major interceptor sewer project. Now, the first phase of the project has already begun, according to the article. Now, the city received a $4,839,300 grant in July of 2023 for the state and from the state, and according to the report, used federal American Rescue Plan funds as well as a $4 million loan from the state to pay for the project. So they're spending big money, and this is what the basically report. They're getting money, getting grants. Now, the report goes on to explain other costs associated with city projects. It really shows you what is actually taking place in the city of EU. That's my story number 7, also made to the top this week. Big. Story number 8 and the top local headline and developing news story that made it this week. Folks, if you do want the show to show some support, it does not take much. All you have to do is visit the website on the screen, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Or you can stop at the store at 5648 Market Street and see my smiling face, always trying to work in the building and do something positive in this lovely world and staying busy. That's the big thing. Story number 8. Hospitals are fighting for their life. The situation at Sharon Regional Medical Center is so bad that in a WFMJ headline, Tanner Health is now asking for a $10 million match for Sharon Regional Medical Center. Now, the entire story shows how local hospitals are fighting for their life because the group is asking the community to come up with the money to help them purchase the facility. Now, Sharon City Council has already pledged $500,000. Now, folks, this is a serious story, adding to a number of stories centered around local hospitals fighting for their life. That's why story number 8 made to the top this week. Well, folks, there are top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that I made this week. I'll be right back to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories. So don't you go anywhere. The Mediator, me, Brian West. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that I made this week. Folks, up north it is cold. and there is snow everywhere. I had to shovel so much snow that I started to feel like I was a snowman outside. Could you imagine, I was outside snubbing, I was wondering about weather, and how once upon a time they thought the earth was flat, could you just possibly imagine when they discovered weather radar, and now we can look on our phones and see when the storm is coming, and we can run to another area and run over here to another state if we don't want to be cold up north. But I'm out here looking at it, and I'm seeing people shoveling the streets, and people canceling stuff, and it's amazing what happens when the weather gets cold or the weather gets bad. But it made me wonder, back in the day they'd have to do rain dances and chopping and superstition, wanted it to rain, and they finally invented something like a weather app. You can go on your phone and see what the weather is like. You can look at beautiful news reporters and, well, it's a beautiful day, we're going to have sunny skies, and it's going to be, but that's the luxury of living in America, in the world, in America, in the world, because they have all this technology and innovation. And can you believe that some people still get caught in the storm because they don't have access to these fundamental things that we have? And it's an amazing thing when you're out there. You're waiting for something to happen, and all you have to do is just, oh, it's gonna snow, I better turn the heat on. Or, oh, it's going to rain, I better put a tarp on something. We live in a beautiful world. I made a song about it. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. While you are so pessimistic and thinking the world is going to come to an end, I'm looking and appreciating the way it is. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Woo! Woo! Oh, let's waste no time, folks. It's not that bad at all. It's snowing coldy, but it's all right. Let's get to story number 1. Unconstitutional, illogical, big questions for Trump's plan. There's going to be some change. The Hill has a report stating that DOGE is unconstitutional, also known as Department of Government Efficiency. Folks, the piece is an opinion piece by Kimberly Will, and it was published January the 7th. Very interesting piece, an opinion piece, what it seems like, Willie. And this is her take. Now, in an attempt to slash federal spending, she says they want to slash the budget by $2 trillion. She says this doesn't come with some legal ramifications as stated in her report. Now, the report shows a federal struggle and portrays Musk and Ramaswamy as two government rookies trying to legitimately exercise federal power with no constitutional authority or accountability. This is what she says in the report. It's an opinion piece. Now, the article is direct and goes all in on what appears to be people trying to save America by killing the cows. That's basically how the article portrays. Basically, if you get the idea, it's basically saying we're just going to save America by cutting the fat and all the stuff that has been feeding the American and all the stuff, and we're just going to do it without any backup. Now, the report holds nothing back, thus getting the story into the top 8. But that's why story number 1 made it. Story number 4. The housing story is hanging on. CBS News has a headline asking the big question of will housing inventory rise in 2025. The article is written by Ali Yell. It was written on January the 7th. Now, this is what has investors afraid. They're afraid about housing prices. They're afraid most people want to see what's going to happen, and they know they're needed, but people need to make money, folks. This is all at a time when mortgage rates are high and the overall housing inventory is low, which is a major problem. Now, the question now is, what about those old houses? Those houses that have been torn down. Some of them are still hanging on a limb. The wood is rotted. The roof is caving in. Folks, the article goes on to explain that what's left of them has buyers forced. They're forced to compete for them. So some people are buying these homes, refurbishing them, and they're competing for these little projects. Now, the article goes on further to explain that without a huge inventory, this could get nasty, but goes on to explain how many real estate professionals are expecting a rise in housing inventory in 2025. So people are just, it's almost like something happening where you're wondering who's going to do what because of prices and the fact that materials low, and will you be able to make any money? The article pretty much sums it up as a game between buyers and sellers, folks. Some people just are getting out of the market, and some people are shifting their strategy, folks. This story is still developing because people want to make money. That's what the capitalism is about. The story is still developing. That's why story number 2 made it. Story number 3, another foreign story to wonder about. Due to the fact that Americans are concerned about America's tax dollars, The Intercept has a report published January 6 by Nick Turse stating that Nigeria's military has been receiving billions in U.S. aid. And on Christmas Day, they bombed their own civilians, again killing at least 10 civilians and wounding more. Folks, this story adds to a growing list of questions surrounding the Biden administration's wasteful spending. The story goes on to explain some other taxpayer blunders when it comes to U.S. deals with Nigeria. The story made it in because of the recent deals catching taxpayers' attention, because people want to know where the American dollar is going and why are there no American dollars to take care of America's problems. That's why story number 3 made it this week. Story number 4, the Social Security bill. What is in it? CBS News has a report focusing on the Social Security Fairness Act. It appears that President Biden has signed legislation expanding Social Security benefits for millions of retired Americans, including firefighters, police officers, and teachers. Now, this includes an average monthly increase of $360 for more than 2.5 million Social Security recipients. The article goes on to say that beneficiaries will also receive a lump sum in the thousands of dollars to make up for the shortfall in benefits they should have received in 2024. The act eliminates 2 federal policies that barred employees with a public pension from collecting their full benefits under the federal retirement program. Now, Biden is the first president in more than 20 years to expand Social Security for 2.5 million Americans. Those who oppose say that this will bankrupt the Social Security nest. Folks, that's getting the story into the top 8, folks. Well, folks, there are top 4 international headlines developing news stories that I made this week. I'll be right back with the top 4, so don't you go anywhere. The Mediator, me, Brian West. I'll be right back. Tune in to Methodate's YouTube channel to check out the top interviews that made it throughout the years and months. Visit Method88.com. Check out all the community interviews if you want to check it out. Method88.com. Buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 4 international headline and developing news story that made this week. Folks, yes, we live in a day and age where things have changed. And back in the day, I don't know if they would cancel school so quick and everybody would kind of be so fragile about bad weather. One thing I've noticed about when you look at weather reports, especially when it's snowing or if it's a bad storm, they will always make it seem like it is the worst storm ever to hit the nation. Oh, we're going to have some serious weather coming in. Schools are closed, roads. There's one accident where a car actually flipped over into a bankhead. And we're going to go to Johnny, and he's going to talk about the school cancellation. Folks, did you know that the school has been canceled, but the mayor decided to go on with the parade. So the kids are not in school, but they're at the city parade, and they're outside in the snow making snow angels, and they're not learning anything, and we wonder why they're not passing any school tests, or on top of that, having the state of the learning that other cities have. Folks, this is the reality that we live in. And that is the fact that, yes, people are choosing to have fun over school, because the question is school fun? It's not fun because you have to learn. But, yes, people are choosing to cancel school and find a way for the kids to use their time to go find weapons and pull them out at other kids, and bring guns to school and shoot at the bully. Folks, really not much has changed, but the weather is just an excuse to take a day off. And here I am, in all of my Mediator splendidness, still trying to save the world, standing at odds with all nature, in a studio receiving no blessings, but the blessing to bless you to be informed. I am being blessed. As my mother would say, Brian, you were born blessed. So let's make a song. When you need to lead, oh somebody, don't blame it on the storm. Don't blame it on the rain. Get your ass in school and learn about how to create your blessing. Yeah! Let's waste no time, folks. Let's get to it. Story number 5. Learn how to create your blessing. A large number of U.S. businesses are hanging on by a thread. The business game, folks, is hard knock, and there are eyes everywhere, and if you are on the block, yes, there are. Because of the competition, the shark game is filled with innocent entrepreneurs getting eaten up and left for dead, folks. In this market, big names are now in the bankruptcy lines, with old school ideas getting eaten alive by technology and algorithms that now predict old school tactics. Now, according to Fortune, Paramount employees have endured a brutal year of layoffs. The Street talks about another popular burger chain that has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy because of the COVID effect. Whatever is becoming of the market, business owners are in a nasty spiral downward. They're spiraling downward with fresh ideas coming from those who are doing everything to stay relevant, because all waste is being thrown out in this market. That means if you're not doing anything productive, you may be in the unemployment line. Waste is serious right now. One report by iHeartRadio talks about how America's biggest gas chain is closing 1,000 locations, folks. This story is still developing. That's why story number 5 made it this week, because business life is hard knock. Big hit. Story number 6, a terrible night in the city of Angels. As of the airing of this show, 2,000 structures had been burned when I last checked, and 5 people were dead. This is in a Los Angeles Times report published January 8th by 6 people. The story is grim, with 99-mile-per-hour wind gusts and an exhausted emergency rush to fight fires with little water. 70,000 residents have been evacuated last check, folks. This story is yet another story showing how people on the ground are trying to pull things together in a chaotic and very, very collapsing structure. Big headlines. Story number 6 Let's make it to the top 2 this week. Big man. Story number 7 and the top 2 international headlines and developing news stories that made this week for you to keep you informed, folks. If you do not get up this early, I do upload the show to the website on Mondays. So if you want to catch the show right there and get the news right there, if you want to wake up Monday and maybe get different news but still want to know top 8, I upload the show on Mondays on the website to our YouTube channel. Story number 7, medical debt. Yahoo News has a report explaining how a new federal rule will remove medical debt from credit reports. The report is a game changer and a rule that will erase an estimated $49 billion in unpaid medical bills from the credit reports of roughly 15 million Americans. Now, this is yet another move that has collectors and hospitals wondering who is going to pay the bill. Now, this story is still developing and has average everyday people celebrating while those providing the care are losing a paycheck, folks. This story is still developing. That's why story number 7 also made it to the top this week. Big B. Story number 8 and the top international headline and developing news story that made this week for you to keep you informed, folks. If you want to show the show some support, all you have to do is visit the website on the screen, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or the sponsor program. Or you can stop at the store at 5648 Market Street and buy something in the store. That's in Boardman or Youngstown, Ohio. You can buy something in the store. Folks, I'm usually always there working. I really have nothing else to do with my time. Story number 8, the data is showing economic growth. So what now? Market Watch says that the economy grew rapidly in the past 2 years, but is by asking the question of, can the next Trump presidency keep up with the or will it destroy what they're talking about as economic process? I mean, that's for some people, not for all. The article begins with the good news that Trump will likely extend expiring tax cuts and boost fossil fuel production in a bid to lower energy prices. The article goes on to talk about unemployment, but concludes with concerns about if Trump's policies will work or not. That leaves the question, folks. The story is still developing. Let's get the story to the top, because if Trump is inheriting a good economy, the thing is what they're basically saying is, if it ain't broke, then don't try to fix it. Well, we'll see what happens. Well, folks, there are top 8 local and international headlines and developing news stories that made this week. I hope you got something out of today's program. I always get something done doing the research. As usual, I thank all the news outlets, the journalists, the people on the front lines. You deserve all the credit. I'm just the mediator, the man in the middle, navigating the news stories just to keep you informed, and trying my best to find the top stories to tell you what's actually happening. If you do want to show some support, it does not take much. All you have to do is visit the website on the screen, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or the sponsor program. Or you can stop at the store at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Youngstown, Ohio, and see my smiling face. Well, folks, I am out of here. I'll be going back out to shovel some more snow, and on top of that, do my darndest to be back in here next week to give you the top 8 story. Thank you for tuning to the Mediator with me, Brian West. Have a good week, everybody. Peace.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.